been a while. Hi everybody, I'm back. Yes, I went a little bit MIA for a little bit, but here I am. We've got fresh face because it's a fresh new year, and honestly, none of my makeup matches my skin tone anymore because it's from the summer and I have not been wearing makeup for a very long time. It is 2022 and so much has already happened. Today I wanted to talk about how I've started the new year and how it could potentially be helpful for you. It is another tough start to the new year, dealing with COVID 3.0, feeling like nothing has changed. So I'm here to bring you some old habits that I'm going to get rid of and some new habits that I'm going to start. As much as I love a good goals video, I feel like it's really hard to maintain those goals and to achieve those goals when you don't have the right habits in place. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, it's really weird not having makeup on. I feel very vulnerable. All right, so habits. Our brains love habits. Our brains make this connection between satisfaction and action. And then habits are formed because your body and your brain, you already know the outcome. But just like so many other things in life, just because you love it or because it makes you feel good in the moment does not mean it's good for us long term. And when I was making this list, I was being honest about what was realistic. Originally, I thought of things of like balancing how much rest I'm getting or just anything regarding positivity, productivity. But then I reminded myself that this pandemic put us all into survival mode. And because of that, there are so many areas in our lives that we need to be less harsh. So with these habits, I want to start with some ground rules. Rule number 1, do not expect a quick fix. Breaking habits takes time. They say it takes 3 days to make a habit, 3 days to break a habit. Rule number 2, do not get frustrated if you slip. It happens. Try again, as long as you try again. Rule number 3, and most important, be real with yourself. Whether you skipped a day or if you didn't even give it a fair shot, be honest with yourself. Because I don't know. At the end of the day, you are the only one that's truly affected by it. Okay, let's get into the habits. Habit to break number 1, drifting through life. How many of us go through our day-to-day life just focusing on what needs to be accomplished by tomorrow? Sure, you go to work, you go to school, you clean your house, maybe you run some errands, but like when you look back on it, did you really achieve anything? When I get too comfortable with my life, that to me is a sign that I've stopped pushing myself. And I don't like being on autopilot. Next thing I know, it's 3 years later, I've done the same thing and I'm like, where has the time gone? I cannot believe that it's already been X amount of time. The older you get, the faster time goes by. I'd like for all parts of my life to have a purpose. I want to live an intentional life. And I had this habit, I would constantly say that I would begin something after I finish something else. So for example, after undergrad, after I get my degree, I can start working. Or after grad school, I can get engaged and start my life. Or even on a much smaller note, after I finish this work week, I can have fun during the weekend. Before I knew it, the 4 years of undergrad flew by, and then another 3 years of grad school. And I look back on it and I'm like, did I really have 7 years of my life drifting through life, just going through my daily routine? Now, I mean, mind you, there was a lot of good and a lot of bad during that time, but like really, I look back and I'm like, I was only focused on just one thing at the time. What I've learned is that by having that attitude, we're almost buying ourselves more time until the next thing comes. But what happens when an opportunity comes your way and you don't like it? Or, I mean, I don't know, do we just plan to like whatever we're handed in life? If you're not taking meaningful action, not being purposeful with your time, if you're unmotivated, or even if you've lost touch with yourself, ask yourself, am I drifting through life? Habit to break number 2, comparing values. Now, I'm not just talking about that general don't compare yourself to other people comment. I'm talking values. Your life is not comparable to those that do not share the same values. All right, let's look at two different people, person A and person B. Person A lived at home during college, finished their degree, started working right away, and then they moved out when they had their established career. They have no student debt. Person B chose to live at the university dorm. They finished their degree, they got a job, but they have a lot more student debt. Think very superficially about that example. Person A valued being debt-free or maybe more structure. Person B valued maybe experience or independence. Neither are right or wrong, neither are better or worse. Another realistic and relatable example is my current wedding plans. Dee and I decided to do a small ceremony with just our immediate family, and then afterwards we're gonna do a little like brunch at like a little small bistro. Probably like 15 people max. I got a little white jumpsuit and he got a suit, but it's the opposite of a traditional wedding where it's the whole shebang. Ceremony, reception, maybe like 200 plus people. And if I were to tell my 18-year-old self that this is what my life would be like and this is what my plan is, I would have thrown a tantrum and cried for days. Like, how dare I not get my massive dream wedding? But my values changed as I got older. Weddings in Chicago on average right now are like $60,000. And to me, what I learned is that's not even an investment. You're not putting your money into something and getting anything back from it long term. So I learned that I'd rather use that money for an investment for our future house than to have a big wedding. And then down the road, when we do have the financial means to have that big wedding, we will do it. But on the other hand, there's someone else that may value having a larger celebration right now over investing in a home. Again, neither are wrong. Neither one of them is better than the other. I bring this up because it's a matter of comparison beyond what you see on social media and appearance. If two people don't share the same values, how is it a fair comparison? Habit to break number 3, too much media. And I'm not just talking about social media only. Social media is a tool. Do not forget that. All social media platforms are designed to be easy and satisfying to use. There are hundreds of studies between the release of dopamine in the brain and the reward system whenever we use social media. And because of this, our brains are wired to think that while we're on social media, we're doing something good. And honestly, this one's really tough because for a lot of us, due to the pandemic, our frequency of social media use increased because we wanted to avoid isolation. If it becomes a staple in our day-to-day routine, then we become psychologically and even sometimes physically or emotionally dependent on it. But when you really take a step back and look at how social media has impacted the world, we've got more comparison, loneliness, cyberbullying, and anxiety and depression. We have all of those over real connections with other people. And by realizing that this is one of the habits that I have to break, I also remembered I lost touch with a lot of my old hobbies like puzzles or reading and sometimes even experimenting with baking. And you don't have to quit this habit cold turkey. Start small. Like for me, I started putting my phone away before bed instead of sitting there for what starts as 5 minutes and then ends up being an hour and a half of just scrolling through Instagram. It's that dang infinity scroll. And I'm honestly even happy to say that I've started reading the Harry Potter books on December 4th or 5th, and as of today, February 12th, I am on the Order of the Phoenix. And I don't know, I feel so much better knowing that I'm utilizing my time in that way. Habit to break number 4, always saying yes. We've all hid our true feelings in order to say yes to a request, correct? But why? I think the only thing to have come from the pandemic is that people are more accepting of receiving no's for plans. It's honestly it's hard sometimes to be honest with people and tell them, no, I don't want to do this or X, Y, and Z. Because you don't owe anybody an explanation why. And it's especially hard for us people pleasers because a lot of it ties into wanting to avoid conflict. But when we practice this avoidant behavior, it really becomes taxing because we only have a limited amount of time and energy. You always have a choice. Think about how much emotional energy you spend thinking and worrying about when you're gonna say no to the other person. You're so consumed about how they're gonna feel when you say no. But I mean, if you're so worried about that, maybe that says a lot about the relationship that you have with that individual. Just saying. Is it a balanced relationship or are you always the one that says yes? And when you think about it, there's a large chance that you're saying no means more to you than the other person that you're turning down. I mean, if saying yes all the time wasn't an issue, we wouldn't be here right now. So those are some habits that I want to break. Now I want to look into the new habits that I'm trying to form. Not easy, but I'm trying. New habit number 1, being present. Oh, I really hate saying being present because it feels like one of those buzz terms, but I mean, it's a term for a reason. When I'm out with people, I do my best to try to avoid my phone. Sometimes, and as of recently, I don't even take it out of my purse. It annoys me when I'm talking to someone else and they're on their phone, so why would I do that to somebody else? Now, the only downside that I've noticed is that it takes me a while to reply to other people if they are texting me in the moment, but all I do is I simply message them saying, hey, sorry, I was at dinner with other people, what's up? Or I say, hey, sorry, I was with someone else at the moment, and then continue on the conversation. And I rarely have anybody get really upset. They're like, why didn't you respond to me on time? Because when I explain that that's what the reason was, they're like, oh, that's good. That's a respectful thing to do. Also, this goes beyond meetups, like being present. If I'm waiting for something, I try to avoid bringing out my phone to pass time. I know it sounds wild. In Chicago, I take the CTA here, and if you're not familiar with public transit, it is not smart to always look distracted and fully consumed into your phone. Being present in that case is literally for my own safety. Even sitting and waiting in a car outside, how many carjackings have happened already in 2022? The more time I spend on my phone, the faster life goes by, and it just it feels like a waste. New habit number 2, stop complaining. Now there's a very big difference between venting and just constantly complaining about something. I see venting as like addressing something, and it sounds like this problem is negatively affecting my life and I wanted to just get it off my chest before I actually do something about it. That's the thing. You're planning to do something about it. Complaining, on the other hand, is like making a fuss. You're fussing about why things aren't the way that you want them to be. There's no plan of action. Complaining is self-serving, and most of the time it's unnecessary. However, I've learned that when we constantly complain, we gain insight on what the underlying issue is. I mean, that's probably the only good thing that comes from complaints. I now make the efforts to look for solutions through actions, and I don't want to find validation from other people. It is not their problem or responsibility to fix my complaints. If 2020 and 2021 have taught me anything, it's that I have so much to be grateful for in life. Even when things are so far from perfect, I have a lot of blessings. New habit number 3, budgeting my resources like money. What does that mean? I've recently read that in life, we are either paying with our money, our time, or our attention. Those are our resources. To protect ourselves, we need to spend it and invest it wisely through prioritization. Unlike money, we can't earn time. Once you spend it, you don't get it back. And similarly to time, we have attention. We use it or we lose it. We can't store it somewhere for later use. The drawback to attention is that you can choose to spend it, but find that you're not even paying attention to something. Does that make sense? Like, we're spending time with people, but we're paying attention to our iPhones. So let me ask you, if we had to start paying to spend time on social media, would we do it? Would you, and be real, would you put your card number in every single day to see what other people are doing on different social media platforms? I'm trying to make it a habit to ask myself that. Would I pay to do something in that moment when it comes to social media or any kind of media technology? And this is definitely the hardest habit to incorporate, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still trying it out, and it's been eye-opening so far. So yeah, that's today's video. I hope that you all are starting off your 2022 strong, healthy, happy, feeling refreshed, reminded of your blessings. And for those of you that like setting goals, I hope you're changing your lifestyles. I hope you're trying new things, tea for example. And I hope that you find this helpful. Even if these aren't the habits that you want to either make or break, maybe it gives you insight into what kind of habits you do want to change or you want to incorporate in your life. Let me know. Or tell me what kind of habits that you've been adding, because I would love some new ideas. Feel free to subscribe. If not, feel free to follow me on Instagram. My handle is Intricate. I would really appreciate it if you can give the video a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will see you at the next one. Thank you. Bye.